that I'm officially in the I can't leave the house without my readers stage of life, I know that I needed to replace glasses and also buy them in bulk because people my age need multiples, some in every purse, in the car, bedstand, etc. And I just didn't want to go through that whole rigmarole. But Zenni is an online eyewear shop with stylish prescription glasses, sunglasses, and customizable lenses, all starting at under $30. Pick a frame on Zenni.com, enter your prescription, customize your lenses, and it ships to your door. No store visit, no pressure, no upsell. And at that price, you stop asking, do I need new glasses? And start asking, why wouldn't I have just a few? A work pair, a fun pair, one that matches every single outfit. You don't have to justify it. You can't afford not to buy them, as my aunt used to say. Over 150,000 five-star reviews, plus a virtual try-on so you can see exactly how a frame looks before you order. I love the pair that I just got from Zenni. People stop me on the street and say, where did I get them? These are like those sort of clear plexiglass ones, like hipster vibes, but not hipster prices. You know what I mean? Such an easy process versus what I was used to. That scratch up pair has done its job, people. Upgrade today with Zenni. Go to Zenni.com/podcast and use code podcast15 for 15% off your first order, plus free shipping on all U.S. orders over $65. These styles do sell out, so don't sit on it. That's Zenni.com/podcast, promo code podcast15. Happy shopping.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or mental health advice. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast and are not intended to malign any religion, group, club, organization, business, individual, anyone, or anything.
I'm Sarah Edmondson.
And I'm Anthony Nippy Ames, and this is A Little Bit Culty.
We woke up from a cult, and that journey was captured in The Vow on HBO and in my memoir, Scarred.
Now, in this podcast, we break down the shame and secrets that make these experiences so destructive with honest conversations on how seemingly benign groups can cross into the cultiverse and how to spot and recover from trouble if it happens to you.
Each week, we bring in experts, survivors, and whistleblowers to explore red flags, resilience, and even share a few laughs, because sometimes you gotta laugh.
Subscribe to our Patreon for early and ad-free listening, some live Q&A, and exclusive content at patreon.com/alittlebitculty.
Welcome to Season 8 of A Little Bit Culty. Okay, so the tip so far is don't throw away your journals and notebooks and whatnot. Don't let anybody else tell you the rules. Just let it rip. What else?
I think one of the really important things, Sarah, is to be really attuned to your internal consent. And what I mean by that is that only write what you're really ready to explore. If you find yourself writing about something that really activates your nervous system and you start getting really agitated, it's really important to give yourself the permission to just hit the pause button and pivot to something else that feels safer, or take a walk, see what it is, give yourself space to integrate. So I think that's important. And that, of course, really dovetails with how important it is to, in an ideal scenario, have a good therapist that you're working with. Like, therapy is, and I know it can be hard to find good therapy. Ideally, we're working with someone who has lots of experience with coercive control. And there are more and more therapists in that regard, but I know sometimes it can really be an obstacle. I would never have not having a therapist be a reason to not write, though. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, having a therapist and letting your therapist know that you have a desire to write or that you are writing, and bringing that into the therapeutic narrative can
Totally.
be just profoundly helpful. Yeah.
Do you think there's a, like, I don't know if there's an answer to this, but I guess I'm wondering if you have a thought on when having, like, I'm just thinking about times when I was writing Scarred or the new book, where it was hard to tell if I was like having a reaction, like being triggered by what I was trying to write, or I'm just like, I guess I just don't know when do you like keep writing to get through it, or you put it aside because you need to not be through it. Like, when do you go through it and when do you put it down? I guess is the question.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. And I think that is so individual. I hate to say it, but if you know yourself well enough, to kind of know what certain responses in your, like, just to use that kind of therapy language of being activated, sometimes being activated is actually a really good place, because it can be like like an indicator of, oh, I'm getting into some hot territory that I really want to write about, and, just keep going. And if that's the case, then I would also just really hope that writer knows themselves well enough to also practice some really good self-care after.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're, in a way, pushing yourself to write through some really challenging stuff, then you really need the time afterwards to integrate. Just like after a good yoga class, like
Shavasana.
Shavasana is so important.
Yeah. When I see people leaving early before Shavasana, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm here for the Shavasana.
Right.
You're missing the best part. You definitely have to integrate and let your body just let it all in. Such a good point. Okay. What are your other tips?
There's tons of writing coaches and writing programs and writing tips and trades and all of that's out there, that it's a huge industry. And a lot of that industry, I have no idea what the percentage is, but there is a very strong predatory dynamic in that industry. And that can be profoundly triggering for survivors. So being aware of that, especially if you're pursuing publication, going into that with your eyes open and your boundaries clear, and a plan A and a plan B and maybe a plan C, because most likely you're going to bump up against stuff that will trigger the cult wound. So again, creating a space where you get to recognize what's happening and practice self-care. But another thing that is so important is to identify your allies. Like, who are the people that really are your allies in this project? And, an example, of course, Sarah, was the way that you were an ally for me when I published An Everyday Cult. That you wrote the foreword for it, and that experience of having enough trust with someone who knows and understands what you've experienced is an extraordinary gift. I don't think I'll ever forget when you read you were like, oh my gosh, I don't know if it's okay, so can I just read it to you? And I for whatever reason, I was up in the closet of my bedroom because I couldn't bear, the kids were, there was noise in the house or something, and I wanted to really hear it. And I just felt so seen. So knowing who your allies are, and knowing when and how to open to them, and when and how to reach out for trust and support. And, of course, you probably have a lot of people that have asked you for support and you're unable to give it because there are too many people that want that of you. I can certainly understand that and having the boundaries.
Before we hear from our sponsors, just a quick reminder. Our book, A Little Bit Culty, Navigating Cults, Control, and Coercion, is officially out and available on Amazon.
Signed pre-orders have closed, but you can still get your copy today. This book is the culmination of 5 years of conversations, interviews, and research. Everything we've learned about how people get pulled into high-control groups and how to avoid, escape, or heal from them.
If you've been listening to the podcast and want a deeper go-to resource, this is it.
Available now on Amazon in print and as an ebook for Kindle. And yes, the audiobook is coming soon, narrated by us.
Just search A Little Bit Culty and grab your copy. Do it.
Thanks, everybody. We had a very specific home challenge this summer. We need to give it a facelift. We need to zhuzh things up a bit. There was a lot of things that were just a little old and ratty. Throw cushions on the couch that were, had straight edges, and oven mitts that were probably about 10 years old. Just everything needed a little refresh. Thank goodness for Wayfair. Wayfair completely solved this problem because buying furniture can be a gamble every time, especially online. It looks amazing in photos, but when it arrives, you're wondering if you accidentally ordered a prop from a low-budget movie set. This is why I trust Wayfair Verified. Their product specialists actually hand-vet everything with a 10-point inspection, quality of materials, how it functions, even how long assembly takes. So you know it's built to survive real life, not just a photo shoot. And the value is real too. Wayfair Rewards members get 5% back every single day, so you're saving as you go. Plus, they got options across every price point. So creating a home you love doesn't mean draining your savings account. And here's what really seals it. Over 20 million verified 5-star reviews from actual customers. Real photos, real feedback, real people who bought the thing and are telling you the truth about it. I look at the reviews every time, and it's pointed me in the right direction and strayed me away from other things, and I'm so grateful for that. So instead of guessing and hoping, you can shop with confidence. Join Wayfair Rewards today to get 5% back on every purchase and start saving on your next home upgrade. Head to wayfair.com to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Now that I'm officially in the I can't leave the house without my readers stage of life, I know that I needed to replace glasses and also buy them in bulk because people my age need multiples, some in every purse, in the car, bedstand, etc. And I just didn't want to go through that whole rigmarole. But Zenni is an online eyewear shop with stylish prescription glasses, sunglasses, and customizable lenses, all starting at under $30. Pick a frame on Zenni.com, enter your prescription, customize your lenses, and it ships to your door. No store visit, no pressure, no upsell. And at that price, you stop asking, do I need new glasses? And start asking, why wouldn't I have just a few? A work pair, a fun pair, one that matches every single outfit. You don't have to justify it. You can't afford not to buy them, as my aunt used to say. Over 150,000 5-star reviews, plus a virtual try-on so you can see exactly how a frame looks before you order. I love the pair that I just got from Zenni. People stop me on the street and say, where did I get them? These are like those sort of clear plexiglass ones, like hipster vibes, but not hipster prices. You know what I mean? Such an easy process versus what I was used to. That scratched up pair has done its job, people. Upgrade today with Zenni. Go to Zenni.com/podcast and use code podcast15 for 15% off your first order. Plus free shipping on all U.S. orders over $65. These styles do sell out, so don't sit on it. That's Zenni.com/podcast. Promo code podcast15. Happy shopping.
We protect everything. Health insurance, car insurance, phone insurance. We've got a plan for basically every possession we own. But your home? Your actual biggest investment? We just cross our fingers and hope nothing breaks, which is wild because things definitely break, especially with 2 boys and you're going to football practice and one of them pulls the doorknob off. HomeServe definitely could have helped. Your regular homeowner's insurance doesn't cover the day-to-day stuff. Plumbing failures, HVAC breakdowns, electrical issues. You're on your own for those, usually at the worst possible moment. Think of it like a subscription for your home. For as little as $4.99 a month, they've got your back. Here's the difference. When something breaks, you're not frantically Googling contractors at 11 p.m. in a panic. You're already on the phone with HomeServe's 24/7 hotline getting a repair schedule. Choose a plan that fits your needs and budget, and when something goes wrong, just call. They've been doing this for over 20 years with a trusted network of 2,600 local contractors, nearly 4.5 million customers, a 4.8 out of 5 post-repair rating, and an A+ BBB rating. They're legit. Emergency home repairs can get really expensive really fast. So next time we're dealing with the faulty electrical outlets, a broken light switch, a burst water pipe, a furnace that decides to quit, or a water heater on the fritz, HomeServe is who we're calling. It's time to protect the things you're protecting everything else for. Join the millions of customers who trust HomeServe. For 50% less your first year, go to homeserve.com/culty. That's homeserve.com/culty for 50% less. Savings compared to renewal price. Void in Florida.
Sponsor break's done. Back for more culty stories. Yeah, it's a little difficult. I was thinking actually just to go back for a second, you said something about trigger the cult wound. I guess I'm wondering like how do you, maybe this is a therapy question, but as you're navigating, like you said, predators and the publishing space and people that maybe don't have your best interests at heart, but how do you know when it's, oh, my old cult wound is being triggered versus, no, that's my guidance saying this isn't good. That's my inner intuition coming back and saying, oh, this is not a good dynamic. How do you navigate that?
Yeah. What's funny is that I actually see, in a certain way, no, it's not the same thing. It's, two very different things to kind of go into the cult wound and versus no, like this feels wrong. So that kind of, this feels wrong, I would say there most likely is a bit of an experience of cognitive dissonance. There's a bit of a like, oh, okay, this person is saying that, but then this is actually what's happening. Let me tread slowly and carefully. And sometimes it's just a really, if it's a clear gaslighting and gaslighting in your body, that is like, yeah, get me out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I had an interesting experience in my own publication of my book where there was some bullying that took place, especially around the cover of my book. And what's his name? What do you call it? The publicist? I guess it was the publicist. No, not the publicist. The
editor, publisher?
It was the publisher.
Okay.
Yes. So the publisher had this idea that my book cover was perfect the way that it was at this certain time. And the colors were really muddy and muted, and it felt really off. And he was really pressuring me. And this is a hybrid publisher, by the way. So, I own the rights to my book. It's not that I had sold my book completely to them. And he was being rather aggressive and using ultimatums to kind of move this through. And it was profoundly triggering for me. And I had to just like step back and get a little perspective and realized he was just flat out wrong. And we needed new art. We needed to, like, the slides that he had were not the right ones. And I needed to hold my own. And I did. And it was delayed by a few days. And it was fine. So sometimes it's like, that, and my experience as a survivor is what helped me to see that. So it's like, yeah, we see what we see now and we're not going to be, pushed around. But if we're getting, down into the mire where the wound is open and we really are not making sense, That's when we really need to be with our therapist.
That's a very good point. When you were talking, you reminded me of something I said in your symposium about definitely one of the pros, and there's pros and cons with everything, but the pros of self-publishing or hybrid publishing is that you do have that final say. People are guiding you,
Yes.
towards certain things. And that was hard with Scarred, where I didn't have a choice on the cover. And as a cult survivor, I think it's always good to have more choice.
Absolutely.
And of course, a nice advance is great. That's what I tell people now is if the advance is enough for you, knowing that you may never earn it back and that's all you're going to get from the book, then take it and get the
Right.
support. And know that that you're giving up a lot of control. But also, anyway, that's in the symposium.
And that's a really good point, that the symposiums, and there is just incredible, a whole, width and breadth of support for survivors in the symposium recordings. And they can all be accessed actually through the Living Cult-Free website. So
Great.
Yeah, so it's a mini fundraiser, but if you can't afford the $7 to rent it, just reach out and we'll send the symposium link.
It's the same price as a latte, a fancy latte.
Exactly. That's right.
But I hear you. We don't want anyone to not be able to have access.
Yeah, exactly.
I say the same thing about my book. Yeah.
And there's one more tip I would love to share.
Yeah,
and
please.
That is that there's a tendency to kind of congregate with people who got out of the same cult as you. And some people even create little, writing groups around that particular group. And I have seen a number of times where that has actually backfired. And to me, it makes a lot of sense that it would backfire. And it's
Why do you think?
Well, it's the same thing as with a discussion group or a therapy group for the same group of survivors,
Right.
Is that you're so charged. You're activated by the same words, and people in that group are going to be using the same language. You have the common experiences. And when instead of that environment, you can be in a space where there's a mix of different varieties of coercive control and coercive relationships, we're much less likely to get tripped up on something that is related to what we experienced rather than too closely related.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see oftentimes survivors, can see more clearly from something, a different kind of group, which is why A Little Bit Culty is just an extraordinary resource for survivors.
Oh, thank you.
That width and breadth of experiences that are represented on the pod is just an incredible asset for survivors.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we get to see that in our writing.
I would also imagine, and at least this would happen for Nexium, that if we started a group that was writing all together, there might be some old dynamics come out regarding like the ranking system, like, who was above who and sort of, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want any of that. Like, I know in this book, we talk about getting together and like having bitch sessions where you just sort of like let out all the things you couldn't say. I think that's fine. But even in those situations, I remember like deciding whether we were going to do something, I forget what. And there was like dynamics around like somebody saying like, well, you're not my green sash anymore. Like I'm not above it. I'm like, I don't want to be your green sash. Like, I don't need to have authority over you. I don't want it. Like, don't think that I mean, like there's all these weird playing out of the old patterns.
Yeah, but to say that, like to hear that phrase, you're not my green sash anymore, that could also be, that's so personal. Like, it's hard to not take that personally. No. So then you get triggered. So it's just an environment where one is more likely to be triggered.
100%.
And we can avoid that. There's so many healthy, amazing, better ways to work. And to write and to connect and to share.
Well, you must have learned so much over the years. Is there anything else, being a survivor, an author, a leader, an educator in the cult recovery space, that's changed your view of healing? Or like when you look back at your time in this space, any major, like, has your opinion changed, or do you have any different outlooks?
There are two things that come to mind with that question. One is there's and I've already said it, but it really is worth saying again, is that the relational trauma that we experienced is such, it's the big wound. And in order to really heal, we actually need to be in environments where we can relate with others in a safe way, or a safe enough way. There's no perfect safety. So really focusing on the relational aspect of healing, I think that's been a huge part of the last couple of years for me. And it has really changed my broader perspective of what it is to heal as a survivor. And then the other thing that comes to mind with that question is also living as we are right now in a time when there's such widespread authoritarianism. And I think there's a way that really triggers the cult wound, or it can be a way that can trigger the cult wound. So being aware of that and taking care, like not listening to the news, titrating yourself, or deciding, reporters or speakers that don't activate your nervous system, that don't get you too riled up. Humor.
Oh, I just wanted to tell you, I'm proud to say I have not watched the news. I get the news through other means, but I have not watched the news program since March of 2020.
Woohoo! Wow.
Yeah, that's my self-care.
Yeah.
My mom lets me know what's important, but I also get, I get emails and whatnot. But
yeah, exactly.
It's different when you're reading headlines versus blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, it's really different. It is really different.
Mm-hmm.
And so how has that, say more about that, Sarah, because I think that's important.
I just feel like it's what I've needed to do to not be constantly anxious. Because there's I can't control it. I mean, I can participate in certain things, but it just riles me up and triggers me and makes me anxious. And I feel like, especially certain media, it's so, the production values and the spin and the slant and the bias and all the things that it's too much. And fear focused, and also some might say this is my leftover cult stuff about not trusting the media. And I would say both can be true. I might have leftover cult stuff and I still am not going to trust the media. When I see the same incident being cut up and shown completely opposite views by the two different networks, I'm like, both of you are not to be trusted. So no.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm just not getting my news from there for my own well-being. For
sure. It is and to trust your gut. Trust your gut that if this is if you have a feeling of, ugh, I don't want to see this, or this is too much for me, trust that. And I think setting healthy boundaries around media. And I tell you, we have to laugh, and we also have to be willing to love, because that's part of what happens, when you have progressed in your healing, when you've integrated enough of this, culty dynamics. If we don't laugh, if we can't, let loose, that's not good. Definitely whatever kind of creative expression floats your boat, if it's listening to whatever favorite comedian is, but also just, relationally, laughter and love. It's the spice of life.
This episode would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. Let's hear what they have to offer.
Anyone else feel like August is the Sunday of summer? That weird limbo where you're bracing for the autumn chaos, but also refusing to admit summer's basically over. It's the perfect time to hit reset. And for me, that always starts with my closet. Quince proves you don't need a crowded closet full of options you never wear. You just need the right pieces. Their organic cotton and Mongolian cashmere sweaters are beautifully tailored, one of my personal favorite, built to last, and somehow work for morning podcast recordings straight through dinner without you having to overthink it. Boom. Their premium stretch denim starts at $50 with the fit and structure you'd expect from some designer brands charging triple. Everything's 50 to 80% less because they skipped the middleman entirely. My personal favorite, other than the sweater, are the slacks. Sarah says my butt looks slamming in those. No big deal. And it's not just clothes. They've expanded into hotel quality bedding, kitchen essentials, and furniture, elevating your whole life without the luxury price tag attached. Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/culty. Get free shipping on your order and a 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/culty. Remember when summer meant actual freedom? No homework, no teachers, no alarm clocks, just weeks of glorious nothing stretching ahead of you. As adults, summer freedom looks a little different, but Mint Mobile's summer sale is bringing some of that magic back. Right now, all their plans are $15 a month, even unlimited. That's not a typo. That's just what happens when a wireless company decides to stop being ridiculous. Free yourself from big wireless and all their gimmicks and gotchas. High-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network, T-Mobile's network, not some knockoff version. Bring your current phone, keep your number, pick a 3, 6, or 12-month plan, and stop overpaying. That's it. Sign up online, it takes minutes, and you get 3 months of premium wireless for $15 a month. Turns out freedom in adulthood mostly just means not getting fleeced by your phone company. Close enough to summer vacation, honestly. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/culty. That's mintmobile.com/culty. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/culty. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabytes hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. The kids are heading back to school soon, and along with the school supplies panic comes my annual, how am I supposed to feed everyone healthy meals and have time for anything else spiral? It's a lot, especially with sports. This is exactly why we're so thankful Hungry Root sponsors this podcast. Hungry Root is awesome because we are able to have the best healthy snacks for our kids while we're trying to get them to practices to and fro, and sometimes get back at 9:30 at night and have to give them a quick dinner before they go to bed and get up at 6 a.m. Here's what's wild. Hungry Root gets smarter the more you use it. It learns your taste, your dietary needs, and just keeps refining what shows up in your cart, like it's slowly becoming psychic about what you and your family actually wants to eat. With over 50,000 chef-crafted recipes and 1,000 grocery items, we never get bored. Most recipes are ready in 15 minutes, which is a miracle during back-to-school chaos when everyone needs to eat immediately and simultaneously. They're serious about quality, screening out over 200 sketchy additives. No hormones or antibiotics in their meat and seafood. You know exactly what you're going to get. Honestly, the biggest gift is not having to think about food logistics on top of everything else. My brain has exactly 0 extra space during back-to-school season and this podcast, and Hungry Root just handles it like a boss. Our family's eating better without me having to become a nutrition expert overnight, which I kind of am. That's a win. And with the time we save from not having to meal plan or grocery shop every day, we can put more into this podcast. You're going to love Hungry Root as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first order, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/culty and use code culty. That's hungryroot.com/culty, code culty to get 40% off your first box and free item of your choice for life.
Did you skip over all the ads? We hope you didn't. Thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for listening. Now, let's resume our culty combo. So, I'm aware of the time, and we're at an hour, so I'm going to ask you one more thing. Where is it? Well, first of all, where's the best place for people to find you if they wanted to reach out about any of your workshops or symposiums?
Those symposiums. The best way is to go to my website, my name, GeretteBuglion.com, and to subscribe to my newsletter, because that's where everything is kind of processed through my newsletter.
Okay.
I have a writing blog, like I write every week. So it's a blog post that's written for survivors, to survivors, about being a survivor. And that is I'm on Substack too. That's, of course, all on Substack. And then the other place is to go to livingcultfree.com.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that. We didn't really get into it too much. What's it do? How have you kept it healthy?
Do you know how we kept it healthy, Sarah?
Tell us.
By just having a steadfast commitment to only let it grow naturally, in a way that each person who's on the board, each person who's part of it, gets to say what they're excited about doing, and they get to do that. And if they're not excited about something, or if there's something that is starting to feel like too much pressure, you just back off. So there is no pressure. And we have grown very slowly. And it's really, really beautiful. Like, we're now poised at this moment with Hoyt, who is Hoyt Richards,
yes,
who I know you know and love. Hoyt is just incredible. So he is a founding board member of Living Cult Free and has been with us from the very beginning. And there's a documentary, an HBO documentary coming out about the cults that he was in and his work. So we're really excited about that.
Thanks for reminding me. I have to send him a book. And we've been talking about him coming on the podcast since we started like 6 years ago. So thank you for reminding me.
Oh, it's time.
It's time. It is time. And he's so articulate and so great. And we mentioned him in the book. He's the one who told us, you might want to process your trauma before you process it on film. And we were like, too late. Too late.
Yes, that's
good
definitely
advice.
one of... Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hoyt is he's a gorgeous human being. And yeah, so on the Living Cult Free website, there are three main things that we offer. There's the symposiums that we partner with, and there are sponsors, so that there's scholarships to attend the symposium. To this day, we have not turned anybody away because of the scholarship fund, which is really exciting. And that happens spring and fall. We also have discussion groups, which I mentioned. And the discussion groups are such a beautiful way of connecting with other survivors. And I talked a little bit about that earlier. So I hope that anybody that is just feeling isolated, needing ways to process what's going on in the world today, in your personal life, but also in the bigger world, having the discussion groups are just a really beautiful opportunity for people.
Great.
And there's a bunch of different discussion groups. And then we also have our podcast, Living Cult Free, the podcast.
Oh, great. Amazing. How's that going?
It's really sweet.
Good.
In fact, our most recent episode features Hoyt and Hoyt's story. And it also is the kind of the first public telling of his love story, which is just a beautiful story.
Yeah, he's getting married. That's all I know after hear the rest of it. Well, also that she saved him. That's what I know, loosely.
And that's it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'll make sure to ask about that. If we have him on, finally, I'll text him after this.
Yes, for sure.
Amazing.
And the podcast is done in a really unique way. It's just the voice of the survivor. So there's no back and forth. And so it's really kind of an artistic rendering of that individual story that includes some sound effects and some music. And we have this gorgeous editor who just is so passionate. And, we do one a month.
Great.
So it's, that's what I mean by we pace ourselves.
Smart.
And Yeah. Yeah. So that's Living Cult Free. And I think, you can find me through either of those.
Well, I'm so happy that we were able to catch up and to, platform your important work, your current projects. And I hope that this episode yields a lot of new writers coming to find you and listen to the podcast and using the resources at Living Cult Free and joining you in your symposiums.
Indeed. Let's symposium.
Let's do it. And listen,
do you symposium?
I've never symposium. Well, I was on your symposium. I have another call in 2 minutes, but I want to really quickly tell you my dream. Okay. So then, and then I got to jump.
Tell me.
Okay. So really quick. This is when I was at Rancho La Puerta 2 weeks ago, and it's by this mountain, which is apparently a very vortex spiritual, kind of like Sedona, it's very, people have heavy, big dreams there. And I had this very vivid dream that I was looking at a body of water, and there was these big, predatory fish under the water, like sharks or something scary. I could see the shadows moving, and I was at the edge. And while I was at the water's edge, a very large fish came up and bit me in the hand. It had these two prongs in me and was digging into my hand right here and kind of hooked into my hand, and I couldn't get it off. And I was trying to get it off. And then I was at Target in my dream and I was trying to get someone to help me. And these women that worked at Target could give a shit that I was in pain and had a fish hanging off my hand. And I was swearing at them and I kind of cussed at them and told them to whatever. And then I eventually was able to pull it off myself. And I slid the teeth out of my hand and pulled it off myself. And I have an assessment, but I'd love to know what your dream assessment is. Isn't that crazy vivid?
Wow. Holy shit, Sarah. So, oh my gosh. So what's funny is that I have the narrative that what my fuckhead cult leader would say about it, what Doug would say. But there's something when you described just pulling it out, to me, there's this feeling of I know predators and fuck it, I'm done there. Mm-hmm. So, there is that's what gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, me too.
Hearing that, feel it, I could feel that in my body. So bravo. I say
Thank
bravo.
You. Thank you
so much.
What
do you say?
Yeah,
What's
I feel that's what it was about too. I've been in this world, I'm looking at the predators and and I'm still getting sort of I can get kind of hooked and hurt. And I think there was also some residual of being resentful that I was sort of alone in that in a lot of ways, especially with the women of NXIVM. But then realizing that I can handle it myself and reconnecting to my intuition that I do know what to do and I can take care of myself and being self-resilient. And also sort of a general feeling of I'm done with that.
Yeah.
And being strong enough to do it on my own.
Well, so is there a connection between that feeling and persevering with our tech stuff just now?
Yeah,
that you did it on your own.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. 100%.
Well, you did it, Sarah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, self-reliance has been a big part of my part of my journey. So
that's
thank
awesome.
you. I thought you'd appreciate that dream. I've been saving to tell you it. I don't normally remember. As soon as I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm oh, that's a heavy dream. I'll write that down tomorrow, and then it's gone. But that was so vivid. Whew.
Okay, my dear. Good to be with you.
So good to be with you. Bye, Gerette. Thank you for your time. You're an incredible person and such an inspiration, and I'm so happy we could reconnect.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, and thank you for being a beta reader on A Little Bit Culty. Did I send you a copy?
Oh my gosh.
Did I send you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
you're
good. Good.
You're all done. You're you're so self-reliant. You can trust yourself that
I could do it.
You did it. You did it.
Bravo.
Sinking down to the depths of the ocean, hanging on to the weight of my love. If I let go of it all, I could leave, but I know I won't.
We hope you're enjoying A Little Bit Culty. If so, please do show us some love. Drop a rating or leave a review. Hit subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/alittleBitCulty.
Even better, send this episode to someone who needs it. Maybe they're in a cult, maybe they're just a little bit susceptible, or maybe they just love a good story. Spread the word, spread the love. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
A Little Bit Culty is a Trace 120 production.
Executive produced by Sarah Edmondson and Anthony Nippy Ames in collaboration with producer Will Rutherford at Citizens of Sound. Our co-creator is Jess Temple Tardy.
Our production coordinator is Leslie Dinsmore.
Writing by Sandra Namoto and social media marketing by Eric Swarzinski and Brooke Keene.
Our theme song, Cultivated, is by the artists John Bryant and Nigel Aslan.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.